Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. A little bit of a different pace now with being off for a little while. If you're new to the channel, welcome, thanks for stopping by. Don't go away yet. If you're a long-time subscriber, thanks for coming back. A little bit of a different pace. Trying to showcase multiple hobbies that I'm into. A lot of you guys have been here for the model trains. And I kind of want to show off some of my other hobbies, one being Star Wars collectibles, mainly the 6-inch figures. So today's Christmas Day, so I figured I would unbox a few items and share along with you my thoughts on some of these and go from there. Let's go. So first up is one of my favorite clone regiments. It's going to be the 501st. The 501st, if you ever got into the Clone Wars at all, was going to be the direct soldiers under Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano. So kind of one of the main focuses in that show was the 501st. So here we have just a typical 501st clone trooper, phase 2. Easy to tell phase 1 and phase 2. The helmet you just saw me wearing was Captain Rex in his phase 1 features. Phase 2, it looks a little bit more closer to a actual stormtrooper, which obviously came after this, if you don't know the evolution there. But this is their phase 2. This is going to be in the older archive packaging, so nothing too crazy here for displays, but on the back it talks about the 501st Legion, and kind of gives you a little bit of a timeline on the back here as to where it falls in the Star Wars universe here. But let's get into it. I have a few of these already, so I'm thinking about, and I may make a video on this, if you've followed me before, you know I like to modify things, customize things, so I might make this into a 332nd clone trooper. And if you know anything about the Star Wars line, then you know the 332nd became Ahsoka's soldiers towards the end of the Clone Wars, right before Order 66 was announced. So here we have him out of the packaging, but still in his little plastic holder. So let's get out his blaster. It's a typical blaster. And here we go. So here he is right in front of my little display here. In case you're wondering, someone shared this in the Facebook group for dioramas. It is essentially a sink strainer. So this gray piece is a sink strainer from Dollar Tree. On the back is actually a Dollar Tree cutting board. So I attached the two together with a little bit of modifications and just have a little LED light behind it, and it looks pretty good for the purpose. So this is going to be not the best when it comes to articulation. If you're into these, you'll know that these pin joints are the older ones, and they're not as nice to pose. Some of the characters, not as much articulation there, but still, nonetheless, great looking figure. Already has weathering from it right out of the box. Looks like he's been in the thick of it. Shoulder pads have some nice gouging scratches on it. Same for his blue paint. You see dirt and grime kind of just all over the figure itself, but not bad at all. The arms on this older trooper, they don't have that great of movements, still these pin joints, but still nonetheless good looking figure. And put his blaster in his hand here, and finger on the trigger, ready to go, ready to blast some droids. But yeah, not a bad looking figure here. See if I can get him to stand up. This will happen, I promise. There we go. So, good looking. But let's see what else. Now, so next up is going to be a very iconic figure. It's R2-D2. Anyone that's seen anything with Star Wars or just anything when they're out and about has either seen R2-D2 or C-3PO somewhere in the world. So one of the more iconic figures. But this one was actually sent to me for Christmas from my sister. She sent a few things here, so I'll unbox these along with other things. But here we've seen the packaging R2-D2 with some little extra accessories for him. But kind of started opening this already because it was a little hard to get into. But let's see if we can do this without damaging anything. Okay. Yeah, it looks good. So let's see how we can get them out without breaking anything. And there we go. So we got R2-D2, fully swiveling head here, if you want to call it his head. So his third leg here, you can just kind of grab onto just these little tabs here. I can get my fingers in there. When in doubt, use a tool. You don't want to hurt yourself. So let me, there we go. Does that articulate as well? Yes. Perfect. So there we go. Look at that. That is R2-D2, if I've ever seen one. So I think they did a good job with this. I'll do more in-depth videos on these. I'll show off the accessories, other things like these panels that open up where you can attach the accessories for them. So that way it's not like a 3-hour-long video for today, but just to get back in the swing of things here. So again, thanks for the new people stopping by. For some of the old subscribers, I know it's not what you're used to, but I will be doing some other things like you're used to with some model trains coming up. Hopefully in January I'll be attending Oaks as a goal. We'll see. No promises yet, but other than that, man, this is a good looking figure right here. So probably one of my favorites, I would say, in my collection now. But let's see what else we have in the bag. So next up, this is just iconic. This is George Lucas in a stormtrooper disguise. George Lucas in a stormtrooper disguise. So the man who created this whole empire, his likeness, which is great to have because, you know, this is the father of Star Wars, right here forever, in figure form. So let's see if I can open this. This has already got a crack in the plastic here from Amazon, but what are you gonna do about that? I like to open my things. I'm not one of those people that likes to keep anything in its packaging. I like to be able to have fun with my toys, essentially. I plan on making a nice like diorama display shelf here in my house where I can put these types of things on display here for me to enjoy and look at. So here we have George and his plastic packaging. Comes with his helmet, which actually goes over his head. Some figures you do have to remove the head to put a helmet on if you wanted to go helmetless, like that 501st Trooper here. So if I wanted to show him without a helmet, like he does not have a head, essentially. It's just his helmet on a ball joint. So if I wanted to do that, I would have to get a custom head or a head from another figure and put it on his body to do just a helmetless figure. But this is awesome because I don't have to do that. So let's get George out of his packaging here. I find with figures, it's always best to try and go from the top out. So head first. Let's get his blaster. There we go. There's his blaster. And his helmet. So just your typical Stormtrooper helmet. Let's see how this works. I've seen some people saying it's a little stiff getting this helmet on, but got a little beard there. See if we can get rid of that beard hair. There we go. That little pop. And just like that, George is now Stormtrooper. Now, his ankle joints are a little off. Let's see if we can get him to the point where I can get him to stand. Huh. Didn't take much. So there we have George with his helmet on. Let's put his blaster in his hand here. And just like that, George is an iconic Stormtrooper. So that looks awesome. That looks awesome. Now I'll put the Clone Trooper next to him. Clone Trooper's just a smidge taller than George here, but great looking figure nonetheless. Don't mind me, I'm knocking things over in the background here, but take his helmet off again. It is a tight fit here. There we go. All right, so you could always pose him maybe with the helmet between his arm. Get him to stand up straight here. Takes finesse, and I don't have it right now, so, but nonetheless, George Lucas in his Stormtrooper outfit. All right, so next up we have an Elite Squad Trooper. This is from the Bad Batch show. Essentially, Crosshair, which is one original member of the Bad Batch, leaves them and he goes and works essentially for the Empire. And this is one of his crew. This is an Elite Squad Clone Trooper, which only had a brief point of time in the show. A little bit more easy packaging to open, obviously, here. But yeah, here we have the Clone Trooper and his blaster. Let's get him out here. Will he stand up out of the box? Yes, he will. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and give him his blaster. Now, I'm right-handed, so that's why everything's going in their right hands. So you can do with it whatever you want on your own, but for me, that's how I roll. His hand's a little stiff here, so I got to pry it open a little bit to get that blaster in there. But the articulation on this is going to be still the same pin joint, so they reused the older Clone Trooper body. So it's not the newer bodies here. So essentially the same body, but different paint scheme. But still looks good nonetheless. Same thing with him. Helmet does not come off. There is like a molded head in there. It looks like probably just a blank head that they molded the helmet onto. But yeah, looks pretty good. So that'll go with my Bad Batch figures that I have, and I'll do a video on that at some point. Next up is another gift from my sister. Just as the George Lucas and the Elite Clone Trooper. This is another one that she sent me for Christmas, so shout out to her. But this is a Scar Trooper. His name is Mike. So there is pretty fun packaging on this one. I haven't watched any or seen any of this squad, but something I'll probably get into here going forward as I'm diving in. Obviously, I've seen the iconic, original Star Wars films and some of the most, all of the new films that have been put out. But I'm trying to get it caught up on the stuff that happens in between, things like the Clone Wars, the animated. At first, I wasn't into the animation, just didn't feel like watching that. But the Bad Batch kind of got me into it, so I got sucked into the animation. So probably look at some of the comic books and whatnot to get caught up on some of the in-between stories that happen. But let's open him up and see what we have here. So this is going to be the plastic-free packaging. So there's no plastic encasement whatsoever. If I can get this out here. All right, so we have a mummy and a mummy package. Let's see. There's our mummy. Now the paper's kind of nice. It does say, then on the tissue paper itself, Star Wars. So it's a little extra packaging there from Lucasfilms itself or Hasbro. So unrolling our Scar Trooper here. Nice. So it's not the older casting. It does have the more favorite for the collectors as far as the joints. You notice right away that I can move his arm on a 45-degree angle instead of just a 90-degree angle. So that right there, as far as articulation, is pretty cool. Same thing with the head. Does not come off. It looks like it's mounted on just the ball joint itself. So nothing super special there. On his left arm, we do have his, I guess, little pad here on his arm, which slides up and down so you can kind of move it wherever you want. Yeah, that's a good looking figure. Let's see what we have as far as accessories for him. All right, so we have his pack and his blaster. Now, this body has been, I guess it's a reused body. They've changed some things on it over the years. So you'll notice if I get George out here, how the legs are the same, not the joints. Actually, I apologize. The joint. George is one of the newer ones. So shoulder pads still the same. Chest plate is still the same, just has a decal on it. Belt is the same. Thigh pieces, legs, all that. Knee pads. So all that's the same. The helmet is different. You'll see a little bit of indentation, antenna on the side. But for the most part, it's the same helmet, just a little different. But yeah, it looks like they reused the body. So on the back here, you'll notice George is on your right. Scar Trooper is on your left. There's no peg. On some of the older bodies, they did use peg holes. If you look at like the Mandalorian series, there's peg holes in the back for your accessories per se. Same thing with the Clone Trooper, the Bad Batch. What they designed this to do is you'll see the indentations on the backpack itself that match up with the back of his armor. So you just kind of, I heard it for the first time, it's kind of a pain, but you got to force it on him to get it on there. And I'm not getting it so far. I think maybe if I bring these out a little bit, we can get it to work. That's a tight squeeze. So I'm not really crazy about that, but I guess in the long scheme of things, it looks pretty good. So there it is on. Looks pretty good. So it's yet another fun little accessory here. But let's see what else we have. So next up was a decent find. I've been keeping my eye out for some deals. I don't like paying, some of these figures can get pretty expensive, and it's not in the budget here. It's a lot of that had to do with me stepping away from model trains. It's not budget friendly. It's not normal day Joe friendly. So when it came to this was a score. Walmart about 2 weeks ago had these listed. Now this is usually on sale, well, not sale, but for sale anywhere from $40 to $50. This pair here. This was one I got for $13 on Walmart's website 2 weeks ago. $13 for 2 figures. I think that's pretty decent. So that's really decent. So here we have Captain Enoch on the left with one of his night troopers. If you haven't seen the show, then I guess you're probably not too sure on all that, but 2 of the main, obviously main character in the show, and one of his troopers. He had a whole legion there, but pretty decent packaging. On the back, kind of gives you more of that typical story for the figures themselves. But let's see what we got in here. All right, so pretty good looking figures here. Got your typical warning labels about plastics and blah blah blah. And let's see, we got 2 figures to dismount here. They are in there. Sometimes I've been able to go feet first here. All right, so I'm just gonna put him down here, the night trooper. And he does not want to come out. All right, let's go feet first. Feet first, everybody. All right. There we go. We got him out. Now let's get these blasters out here. So we'll first get Enoch's blaster out, which a little bit more unique. You'll notice that it's got some gold coloring on the grip and along the rest of it itself. It's not a bad looking blaster by any means. And then for the Night Trooper, just a standard blaster there as well. So what's cool about Enoch is off the side of his camo, he's got a holster, so we can put his blaster right in there. So that looks cool in itself. Obviously, it's a newer model, so we do have way more to articulation. His head articulation is so easy to move. We can have him looking up, looking down. So That alone right there is some pretty decent articulation within itself. Um, yeah, much easier to move these guys around for posing. Now the helmet itself is going to be exclusive to him. Obviously, he's probably the only one that I know of, from my knowledge, of stormtroopers having a custom helmet. Obviously, it's not his face, but wrapped around, with the helmet wrapped around. That is the actual helmet itself. You'll see the gold scarring. His armor is battle worn, so yeah, it's a good looking figure right there. Good old Captain Enoch. Now for the Night Trooper, let's see, same thing. The articulation on its head is nice and smooth, very easy to pose. This is the new body, so same thing. We can get a 45-degree angle on his arm as well, compared to the older guys. You can get maybe a 90-degree angle. His blaster in his hand. It's always the feet that give me a problem with trying to get them to stand. So there we go. So we got Captain Enoch and one of his Night Troopers. Good looking figures. Pretty unique. And again, for $13 on sale, not a bad deal at all. Next is one that I found the other night at Ross for $5.99. $5.99. Not bad. Not a well-known figure by any means. This is a New Republic security droid, so just a background figure for anyone here. But for $5.99, I thought it was a decent deal. So, and this was from the Mandalorian show, so that's where you'll find this figure in the series. Very easy to get out of the packaging, and its blaster is a little unique as well. See the silvering on the end of the barrel there, and at the end of the scope on top as well. So, looking good there. Let's get its blaster in its hand. Yeah, not bad at all. Not a bad looking figure. That looks pretty good. Now next to a stormtrooper, there you are for sizing. Oops. Pretty close in size. Just a little bit taller than an action figure, but not bad by any means there. So again, for $5. Not a bad thing to have on hand. Next up is a kind of a 2-for-1. About a month ago, I got these. My wife and I were out and about at GameStop. They had a clearance sale: buy one clearance item, get one free. I believe right now they have buy one get two free, or buy one get three free. But not real much out there as far as what's worthwhile to get from GameStop in the clearance section, at least from what I've seen. But a month ago, two of these for $15 wasn't bad. $7.50 a figure. It's pretty decent. So we have the Inquisitor Fourth Sister, which is from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. If you've watched that, then you'll know the Inquisitors are out there looking for the remaining Jedi, hunting them down. So this is one of the characters from that show. Here we have the HK-87 assassin droid. This was one of 3 or 4, I think, if I remember correctly, in the episode where Ahsoka was found, and these assassin droids were coming after her, and obviously she took them all down. But this is one of the assassin droids. I believe the Black Series has two different ones. There's this one with the cape and one without. This one in the series was a little bit of a darker coloring. Looks like they got the red here a little bit more brighter than what it was in the actual series itself. But nonetheless, not a bad looking figure here. So let's get this droid out. This packaging. All right. Man, plastic packaging is a pain. All right, so here we have this assassin droid with his cape. His feet are very skinny, so as far as support for the top-heavy body, it's not the best. But I guess it's just about getting their articulation correct to get him to stand up. But let's put his blaster in his hand. Which, if you remember in the show, they didn't have blasters, so kind of weird that they did this with the Black Series from Hasbro, but you'll remember they had those spears, whatever you want to call them. But this is what we get. We get a blaster. So can get his ankle joint right here. Yeah, not really liking the foot. There we go, the feet on this one. But so yeah, here we have this assassin droid. I have seen a couple of videos where people have gone on and essentially done a weathering with a black wash to kind of get the coloring correct. Might be something I'll do at some point. Now, one thing that they've pointed out is his visor here, or the lens in the helmet, between the helmet and the mask, is supposed to be black. It's just red. They didn't bother to paint that in at all. So that I'll probably do on my end just for my own OCD-ish, I guess. But other than that, not bad. Not a bad figure. All right, and then last up is the fourth sister, this Inquisitor here. So this is going to be the plastic-free packaging. So she should be easier to get out here. Get her out of her sarcophagus here. All right, so there she is in her uniform, or her outfit here. Not a bad looking figure. I wish instead of using these plastic camas, or they would have gone with cloth material. Maybe hers is meant to be leather, so I'll give it a pass on that one. But some of them, they've, like with Captain Enoch, just that faux leather just seems a little weird. So I don't know, but this is my thoughts. So she has her own unique lightsaber. As most of the Inquisitors do. So here we have hers. So you have the center with two sabers coming out of it. So a 2-in-1, which if you've seen the show, then you know that that was kind of their style. That's how they rolled in the series. But so here we have that, and then you could put it right in the center of her hand. Now, if you wanted to, just before you could take the it's coming. You can get the blades out, and how they stored them was right there in her back. So if you wanted to store it without the blades in, because it would be turned off if she was storing it back there, that's where it would go. So it's kind of cool that that's built in. There's just 2 little pegs on the saber itself to go into the back of her. Or if you wanted to display her with the blades out, you put them back in, which is not fun. There it goes. You hear it clip into place. And already it's wanting to fight me. There we go. The only weird thing is with those pegs being there, makes it a little awkward for getting it back into her hand here. So her hand is fairly stiff, so I gotta force it a little bit, try and get it in there. And there we go. Okay. So there she is with her dual saber. Not a bad looking figure. Not one I would go out of my way to get, but for a free figure, essentially, for buy one, get one, it's not bad at all. So that's it. So let's look at everyone in force here and close this out. So wrapping up, hope you enjoyed my first video on these. I know I rambled a bunch and struggled a bunch, but I'm just doing this for me, just kind of having fun, passing along my enjoyment to others. It's always good in life to find something, a hobby, sport, passion, something outside of normal work and home life that makes you happy, makes you smile, helps to just make you feel alive. You know, it's not just another day in the process kind of thing. So, and that's what I look for, you know, simple things, whether it be figures or trains or car shows. I do enjoy going to a good car show, and I'll show some of that stuff in future videos. We'll go to a couple car shows. Heck, even doing some video gaming has been fun for me. So I encourage anyone to find something that makes them happy. Whether it be, again, like a sport or a hobby or something like that, and embrace it, you know. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. Again, you can find figures, if you get into figures, for $13 for a pair. You can spend a lot of money. There's obviously the hot ones. If you don't know what those are, look into those. Those are 12-inch figures. These are 6-inch scale figures, but if you find the hot ones, they're, you know, $200 plus figures that look absolutely amazing. Swappable hands, swappable heads, the articulation on them, you know, they're awesome. Not something I'm going to get into that I foresee, obviously, because of cost. Again, I'm looking for a cheap hobby. Again, I was able to make a background. Each one of these panels were $1.25. The cutting board was $1.25. So for $2.50 each one, you know, you can make it work. So for $5 there, I have a background. It's, you know, fun, makes it look like you're, you know, on a ship or whatever, you know. So, but yeah, I would encourage anyone to find something that makes them happy and have fun with it. So, but again, just to recap, we got some cool figures. We have the Grand Inquisitor, Fourth Sister. We have 501st Legion Clone Trooper. We have an Elite Squad Clone Trooper. We have an HK-87 Assassin Droid. We have R2-D2 in the house, my favorite droid of them out there. And then we also have this droid as well, Captain Enoch, a Night Trooper, George Lucas in his Stormtrooper disguise, and lastly the Scar Trooper. So hope you enjoyed it. A little bit of a long video kind of going through all these things. I guess in the future I'll try and do some different, maybe unboxing or show off some stuff that I have, videos. But again, nonetheless, thanks for stopping by, and be sure to like and subscribe, and continue along for future videos. Thanks.